All right. Good evening, folks. Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy stream. Today's stream is brought to you by Ryan SL, who has donated to see a mono black control deck, although in many ways this deck is going to be somewhat aggressive. So we have a fan favorite here, Crystalline Giant, which gets a random counter for funsies at the beginning of combat, and sometimes it will randomly get hexproof and then just massively take over the game, and it's a lot of fun. We're playing a card that's very similar to one of my favorite cards of all time. My favorite card of all time is Vampire Nighthawk, and this is kind of like a Vampire Nighthawk, except it gets bigger depending on what sorts of card types are in the graveyard. So super, super excited about trying this card out. I see you, Bryant, trying to bait me into a political discussion during the middle of a deck tech. Tier lists are garbage. All right, moving on. Holding most of the shell together, we have the traditional mono black stuff. You have Dark Rituals, Thought Seizes, Bobs, Hymn to Turox, and a pile of Lilianas of various flavors. We have a couple of extra flex creatures in the main deck that also double as removal sometimes, Plague Engineer and Murderous Rider in particular, and you'll notice that there's 2 more Plague Engineers in the sideboard. The sideboard is full of the sorts of things that you're used to seeing from these mono black decks, Ley Lines, Bitter Blossoms, some generic colorless cards that go and help answer with things that black isn't particularly good at answering. Otherwise, most of what's here shouldn't be too surprising. We do have a couple of Castle Locthwain, which serves as card draw in the late game. And of course, we have fan favorite Ashiok, which is sweet at shutting down fetch lands and also is very good against things like Uro and Dreadhorde Arcanus that are very popular in the metagame right now. All right, if you want to see your own deck on stream, donation information is always either in the video descriptions on YouTube or in the little boxes below the stream on Twitch. Let's see how it goes. All right, round 1, opening hand, has Dark Ritual and 2 3-drop Planeswalkers. Snap Keep. Okay. So basically our spells are going to resolve this game. Seeing as my opponent already has a creature in play, I'm just going to go ahead and dump Lily into play and get rid of their creature. How good is Ashiok? Real talk. In terms of a particular number of life points, how good is Ashiok? Not 4 points good? Probably not 4 points good. Pull to Crystalline Giant is that it's fun as fuck. I don't know if I'm supposed to, like, eat this Monastery Swiftspear this turn to gain some life, or if I'm just supposed to, like, draw a card and try to find an answer to this. If I take this out of the graveyard, my Nighthawk Scavengers are going to be 1 smaller later, but, like, life gain is life gain is life gain. I guess I don't have to make this decision now, but I'm not going to Dark Ritual into Ashiok. Ashiok is in a particularly good win condition here. Alright, so my Lily's going down, that's fine. Like, Lily has gained me 6 life effectively already. I will gain 1 life. Nice. Note that the Lily is considerably worse here than, like, the first Lily of the game was. The first Lily ate 2 attack damage. Oh, wow, we got life out of that Lily. I did not think we were going to get anything out of it. Three. So I have this Cling to Dust, right? I don't know that I actually want to exile. I don't know that I want to use Ashiok's ability here, because I want to leave this card in the graveyard to eat. And I can't cast it this turn. I only have 3 mana right now. I think I don't do anything with Ashiok. Yeah, I'm going to leave the graveyards there for a minute. Hulk Show, thank you very much for following. Hope you're enjoying the content. Alright, yeah, my opponent just played Shock. I'm good with that. Alright. I have 7 mana this turn. No, I have 6 mana this turn. But I don't have enough cards in graveyard to escape this, right? This is 5 to escape. Awkward. Alright. Alright, so Cling to Dust. Target the Eidolon. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Done. Alright, so this is now the moment where I have to decide who am I milling with Ashiok. Am I milling myself to continue to Cling to Dust? There's no other targets right now, but I could create targets. Or am I milling my opponent out? I don't think I'm getting through 50 cards, so I'm just going to mill myself. Oh no, I milled a Crystalline Giant. That is a travesty. Oh, another Shock. Or so like is this my life right now? I just continue to minus mill myself and Cling to Dust every turn cycle. Because it sure feels like that's my life. My life total is going up. That's an okay place to be in as Burn. Against Burn. Bob? Surely I play Bob, right? Maybe not this turn? Maybe I do. I'm not in any danger of dying. Nice. I mean, I love to see basics here. I could play another Ashiok this turn cycle, but I don't think that's super necessary. I'll just hold it. Yes, Oliver. It plays around cards like Predict. Fling to Dust, get rid of Crystalline Giant. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second Bob, though? Second Bob's probably a little bit much. Alright, there's a Murderous Rider in there I can eat. Probably not supposed to play this. The Ashiok stops my opponent from fetching. I'm going to go ahead and redeploy that. We're not going to play out Caracas here. Some burn decks play fetches. Not all. Yeah, see, this is what I wanted to avoid by, like, making sure I always had an Ashiok on the table. Womp womp. Yeah, okay, so now Cling to Dust is just a cantrip. I need a threat. So let's just pay 1 mana, cycle this. I don't know that I can play another Bob. That said, if I don't put another threat into play, I don't think I win this game. Are we getting lucky? Is that how I'm winning? Hit for 4, hit for 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, plus draw a threat, plus, I'm gonna keep this Ashiok out of bolt range. I don't think that's going to be relevant. Yeah, we spun our wheels and we found Ashioks, which aren't win conditions that we want for this match, unfortunately. Like, we want this. This is, like, custom made for this. Oh, hold up. Nighthawk Scavenger is opponent's graveyards? Hmm. Hmm. That's what we call a combo, right? Alright, Bobs. Everything is fine, maybe. Oh, shit. That was one too many clicks. I have my stops set differently. I had to reinstall Moto because my client was lagging so badly. Okay, yeah. I'm dead. Okay, let's get these Ashioks out of the deck. Okay, what is going on with this? All right. Operation get things back to a reasonable side. Also, hmm. All right. Well, I'll figure out how I had this earlier. Is it just making them smaller? It was making them smaller is what I need to do. D&T is an okay choice. It's not the deck that I would recommend to people like looking to win tournaments, but it is a deck that has game against various things going on in the format. It's very good against Rogue Delver, but it has huge weaknesses against a bunch of common decks like Elves, Oops, Doomsday, and a lot of the matches are very snowbally and outside of your control. PP Pants, thank you very much for following. Hope you're enjoying the content. All right, so Ashiok's out because like fueling our graveyards is really important for both Cling to Dust and Nighthawk Scavenger. Some number of Bobs probably go out after that. Why Plague Engineer here? All right, so this is a really next level play, and I want you to soak this in. It's because it has 2 power. I kid you not. This is a 2 power card that I am bringing in because I'm going to have things like Thoughtseize that are very bad in this matchup, and things like Ashiok that I don't want either. And so I'm going to be looking to fill slots. So like if I bring in these, I'm still kind of short on playables. The EE can get rid of a Goblin Guide or equivalent for 3 mana, which is like, I think it's coming in. I don't know what the last card I'm playing is. I might end up playing 1 Thoughtseize. Like that or a Dismember. I guess later on I can play Dismember for 3 mana and not be ashamed of that. Okay, so let's not make the same mistake that I made before. I want that stop. Turn 1 Bob against Burn. Perfect hand, right? I'm probably supposed to mulligan this. Like, Bob's good, but I would prefer a hand that has life gain. And this has life gain. Alright, I'm gonna keep this. One of these two needs to go here. I'm gonna pitch the Plague Engineer, since it's the slowest card. So I was really hoping to be able to gain life here, but I will accept just turning this into another card. Eh. We hit our opponent's only land with the Hymn to Torok, though, so that's pretty sick. Unfortunately, I don't have a win condition yet. Hold up. Armad's Crypt. Okay. I can fetch Dark Ritual. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 cards in graveyard, not 5. Alright, so that resolves. This is an awkward staring contest that probably favors my opponent. Alright, that's the frustration scoop. I think my opponent hits one land, and then they're actually pretty favored there. Oh god. It was gonna be so long before I found a threat. Don't tell the opponent. Don't tell the opponent how ahead they were. Despite the fact that they couldn't cast spells. Does this hand do enough? So I have a Cling to Dust, which is great. But I don't have any early interaction. Like, I would throw a Bob in the way of whatever early creature my opponent has. I think I'm gonna mulligan this. My hands with Dark Ritual are just, like, fucking disgusting. Hello, I would like to request my big, lifelinky Vampire Nighthawk friend. Where is it? I've been told we have lifelinkers. Where are all the lifelinkers at? Well, I'll cast a Hymn to Torok, and then maybe another Hymn to Torok, and we win? Question mark. So I have an Eliminate on top. Do I Hymn, though? Hymn might be worth more points of life than the Eliminate. I'm gonna go ahead and Hymn. Him taking something like an... okay, him was worth 6 life there. That's quite good. The thing about Eliminate is that Eliminate is still good later, whereas him is only good basically this turn, because my opponent will probably get to play out every other card in their hand. Alright, life is scary. Or is it? Plague Engineer this turn into double Eliminate next turn? That's a little awkward if my opponent draws a targeted bolt, though, isn't it? I die. I guess if I eliminate and they draw a bolt that hits my face, I also die. Yeah, let's... We can just get Fire Blasted or Exquisite Firecrafted and die here. Or my opponent can put any sort of Vortex effect into play, and that will effectively kill me as well. So I will eliminate and kill the Eidolon. And then I can Dark Ritual. Actually, hold on. Do I want to do this now? Maybe I don't. I can eliminate, kill this, Dark Ritual Lily minus. Is that actually good? It might not actually be good. I think I'm just going to pass the turn. There's a world where this just attacks in. And I can kill this in combat by trading and then eliminate that. Oh yeah, I can't really fetch. And if I play either one of these, then Price of Progress becomes a lethal threat as well, which is questionable. We wanted to draw the Crystal and Giant and Nighthawk Scavenger side of the deck this time around, and we did not do that. Shit. Alright, I can't think of any world in which I beat that card. Yeah. I think I'm gonna fetch and kill myself. I think that's the gentleman's death here. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. We got better than that. We're gonna build up the storm. Alright, we're gonna go to 1, okay? And now we're gonna hold priority. We're gonna cast Eliminate on Eidolon. Okay? You following me so far? And then we're gonna cast Eliminate on the same Eidolon. Alright? And then we're gonna not let that Sulfuric Vortex kill us. Hell yeah. Turn 1 Thoughtseize into Bob. No, I don't do Instagram, but you can follow me on Twitter at ThrabenU. Alright. Azorius for the win? I think not. Mono black for the win. Thoughtseize you. Oh. Ho, 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 ho. Oh, ho, 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 ho. I will take your payoff card. All right, Bob, find me a pile of discard. Our Eliminate is literally dead in this matchup in game 1 and probably in the post-sideboard games as well. The Epic Storm doesn't really play creatures. Occasionally there's something like a Xantid Swarm out of the sideboard or something, or a Hope of Girapur. But I think those are less common these days. Bob, you had one job. We can't lose this match. I think Bryant is watching. So we're looking for Thoughtseize, Dark Ritual, Liliana. Now, I don't know if you folks have played with Brainstorm before, but this card is a hell of a drug. It is extremely potent, and although my opponent's hand basically does nothing right now, they could convert their, 2 other Brainstorms into 2 gas cards, and I could be looking at being dead this turn or next turn pretty easily. Yeah, I got massive shoulders. Very, very manly. However big you think they are, they're bigger. I'm real strong. I lift weights every day. Eat tons of protein powder and do manly things. Yeah. I don't sit around reading books and playing video games. What are you talking about? Oh, wait, did I also have a stop here? I need to look at one of my old videos to see where my stops were set. I play so much by muscle memory at this point. Like, I just know how many clicks it takes for me to do things. Alright, we got a Brainstorm and a Chrome Mox. Those are fine. We're really looking to hit tutors. Like, that's what we want to surgically remove from hands here. Ad nauseum based lines are a little bit trickier right now. My opponent's at 14. That's still probably high enough life for an ad nauseum to be lethal. But it's getting to the point where life total is relevant if they cast an ad nauseum. I'm probably going to have a lot of cards to board out for this matchup. Yes, Captain QC. I'm dropping frames. So, like, the YouTube recording will look fine of this, but the stream is not ideal. But, like, I've got 69 viewers right now, so I'm not going to reboot or anything. If it gets noticeably worse, I might reboot. But, like, if I reboot, it's a computer reboot plus a router reboot in order to, like, potentially see an improvement. All right, yeah. So here we see an ad nauseum that probably still gets to kill me. They have 2 initial mana sources already. All right, so now I should be dead to a tutor. Well. This isn't me being deterministically dead. Someone dies here. And I don't know if it's going to be me, or I don't know if it's going to be them. So they can go like Lotus Petal, LED, Dark Ritual, Chrome Mox, Fire Off, LED. I have a lethal attacker on board if they can't kill me post Echo. Yeah, Magic Online is a glorified slideshow, so like, even if the stream is stuttering a little bit, as long as audio quality is clear, things are okay. So green went under there. So this is Dark Ritual, right? Or do we already cast that? Oh, there was an unknown Wishclaw talisman. I should be dead to that. Yeah. Oh no. I can Dark Ritual, eliminate to add to the storm count. Alright, LED. Opponent has 5 total mana. Opponent has 6 total mana. Which should be Wishclaw, activate, get tendrils, I die. Is this harder than I'm thinking it is? Like, do you not have a main deck tendrils? Okay, you had a Burning Wish. That also could have just killed me. So they should have main deck tendrils then. They didn't use Burning Wish there. Oh no, they couldn't have used Burning Wish there. Alright, there's the tendrils. I won't make my opponent click through that. GG. Okay, I'm gonna start in this direction this time. I don't want Eliminate. I don't really want Cling to Dust. I don't really want... Well, no, Plague Engineer is probably fine. I don't want Lily Last Hope. I don't want Murderous Rider. Alright, so these are the must cuts. So I must bring in at least 6 cards. I will bring in Plague Engineers for Goblins. I will bring in EE for Artifact mana mostly. This is a Duress, right? Yeah. I will bring in this Duress. I will bring in Pithing Needle for Wishclaw Talisman. I wouldn't say Leyline is good. Leyline is playable. Like, Leyline takes away marginal amounts of mana from a Rite of Flame, and it stops Echo of Eons based lines. But I think it's probably better to just, like, board in a Spyglass and keep things that can turn sideways and beat my opponent. Like, at the end of the day, I need to get my opponent dead, right? And this pile of, like, Thoughtseize and Hymns and Lilies and stuff, that punches a hole and buys time, but I still need to turn things sideways and kill them. So I don't think I'm going to board play lines here. Yes. Also, why does it say 0 card types 4 different times? Is it pulling data for each one of my Nighthawk Scavengers separately? Like, what's going on, Moto? Moto is indeed a quality program. Double Veil of Summer. That's some shit. I'll take one of them. Then my opponent can have the choice of pondering or holding up Veil of Summer. This is an awkward turn, but here we go. We have successfully played Vampire Nighthawk. Hopefully we'll make this a little bit bigger. I want my opponent to cast this Ponder. And then I can maybe put 2 or 3 more card types into the graveyard. Oh yeah, cast that Ponder for me. Cast it. Is the one with me out yet? I doubt the one with me out is yet. Spoiler, that's coming soon to a YouTube near you. Brian, Dukes, and I recorded last night. Gonna be good. I think you all will enjoy it. A whole lot of stuff to mine there. Badger, thank you very much for following. Hope you're enjoying the content. Yeah, I didn't watch the Ant versus TES one. I watched the Depths one with Tom Hep and Jarvis. Not because I don't want to watch the Storm one, I just haven't gotten around to it. I may or may not spend too much time watching Jorbs play Slay the Spire at night instead of consuming Magic content. Spoilers, Slay the Spire is also a really kick-ass game. Oh baby, look at how big this Nighthawk Scavenger is. So there's no Metalcraft for this. I think I'm gonna him first, and then surgically pick apart what's left. Yeah, I'll leave you with the mana. I'll take the Abrupt Decay. So my opponent has 3 uncastable cards in hand, and I have not only just a 4 damage a turn clock, but I'm also just like gaining 4 life a turn, which is super relevant here. No, Deep Analysis is a video production, so like throw it on in a separate tab or something. There's not like a podcast form. Ooh, an Echo of Eons. I missed that I discarded that. Hilariously, that also shrinks my Nighthawk Scavenger. Am I dead? Am I dead? I don't feel dead. I swear it's normally bigger than this. This is the first time this has happened. Oh god, this is so awkward. Like, JK, it's already back to being a 4-3. Like, we're good. And my opponent will crack one of these Lotus Petals eventually, then I'll be crashing in for 5. Smells like a Rite of Flame. I'm in trouble. Right? Like, I assume you cracked for red, so like it's gotta be Rite of Flame. I don't know how experienced our opponent is with TES. Like, if you look at the clock disparity between our 2 decks, my opponent is down a lot on time. And I think they're having to think through a lot of their lines rather than just knowing by heart what their lines are. That's a lot like what it feels like to me is happening. Oh wow, they're going for another Echo. That's interesting. It's small again. Oh yeah, I mean, like Bryant has a whole website with new articles rolling in every month, new deck versions happening all the time. Like I've played Ant in the past with Cyrus, and I played a little bit of Ant on my own. I played TES with Bryant before. Like the decks aren't easy. It's it's the sort of deck where when you stumble and make a mistake, you just like lose on the spot if you miscount your mana or something like that on a lot of your lines. So like it is very mentally taxing to learn how to play. Whereas like something with Rogue Delver, when you miss by a little bit, like you still sometimes turn a 3/2 flyer sideways 7 times and kill your opponent, right? But when you miss with TES, you don't miss by a little bit, you miss by just an absolute shit ton. I wonder if my opponent would have been better served at some point just passing the turn. Like, I know I have a pile of discard, but they've hemorrhaged a lot of, like, Lotus Petals to cast a cantrip, and they can't make another land drop at this point. So, 2 of their initial mana sources are in the graveyard. They're not to Metalcraft to turn on another Mox Opal or anything like that. So, I feel like I'm getting a turn. Okay, holy shit. I have 1, 2, 3, 6 mana. 2, 4, 5? Or is it better to like him them plus Ashiok them plus Thoughtseize them? Let's Thoughtseize first and get a feel for the answer to that question. So Wishclaw Talisman is kind of their big thing right now, and having an Ashiok will shut that down. I'm gonna take this LED. I'm most scared of that. Then I'm gonna go ahead and him to Turok them and see if I hit the Wishclaw Talisman. I did hit the Wishclaw Talisman. That means that this doesn't necessarily have to come down this turn. And because I hit that, I'm going to go ahead and just him to Turok them and take 2 more of their cards. Sick. Alright, Nighthawk Scavenger is now hitting for 5. We're going to shut off tutors and fetches from our opponent as of next turn. And they're on a 2-turn clock to boot. That's a rough spot to be in. Also, the storm count that they have to generate to kill me, gross, is starting to look a little absurd. I think I have a stop set here normally. That didn't quite feel right. That was actually probably a bad line, right? I wasn't actually supposed to activate that, because that shrinks my idiot. This is a nonbo. These 2 cards should probably not be in the deck at the same time. Thankfully, my opponent just conceded there. They weren't actually dead on board. Sora, I have not cast Crystalline Giant in this league, but the other times that I've played the card, it's been... what's the best way to put this? When the card works, it is very good. However, the card doesn't always work. It's a, like, high ceiling, low floor sort of card. Especially if it gets the hexproof counter first and then just, like, sticks around and accrues counters. It does some pretty silly things. But then there's a lot of times where, like, you tap out for a 3 mana 3/3 and your opponent just bolts it or Swords to Plowshares it, and it looks kind of embarrassing. On the draw, I think you can consider Leyline of the Void, especially since, like, the way my opponent was playing, they played towards echo lines. Yeah, half of the time it works every time. That's exactly it. Keep. Wait, hold on. This enters tapped, doesn't it? Hmm. But I was gonna have 7 mana on turn 1. I think this one has to go back, unfortunately. If this was a swamp, I like snap keep this one. Ah. Keep. This one's awkward. But if my opponent just like holds up a Veil on turn 1 like they did last time around, and I get like a time walk, that's actually okay for me. Alright, it looks like that's what's happening. So I'm going to pause here for just a second, like I'm thinking about casting a Thoughtseize, and then I'm going to pass the turn. I want my opponent to think that I have Thoughtseize, even though I don't. This is a fantastic draw. Alright, so we have shut down one of my opponent's tutors. My opponent fetched twice in response, which is a reasonable thing to do. Oh, God, just... chef's kiss, top of the deck, like, behaving so beautifully for me. We're getting to play disruptive without having to do anything that is, like, problematic for Veil of Summer. Okay. I think I am going to go ahead and mill my opponent here. There are some, like, important singleton cards that I can get rid of. And if this causes them to Veil of Summer, and that turns on my him in the future, I think I'm good with that. So since my opponent veiled last turn when I activated this, if they don't veil here, they probably don't have a veil. Okay, no more Echo of Eons based lines. Let's try to him. Okay, so sort of interesting thing here. If my opponent had, like, failed in response to the Ashiok trigger in the first place, I couldn't have cast this turn. But I would have gotten to play a small creature instead. My opponent has 8 cards in hand, so if they can produce a bunch of mana, this is their time. They have potentially shut themselves off Rite of Flame by tapping that Volcanic Island to Ponder. Burning Wish is the big card that I care about at this point, and I have gotten rid of one of them. So the theoretical cards that I would like to take out are the 3 remaining copies of Burning Wish, the 1 Ad Nauseam, and the 1 main deck Tendrils. So I have like 5 cards that for every one of them I hit just vastly decreases my opponent's ability to win. Note here that my opponent is also starting to become in danger of actually just timing out in this round. They're not quite there yet, but if things go wrong and I get to, start making them discard and shredding their hand or something like that, there's very much a world where they can't win just based on the amount of time that's remaining in the game. Third Veil? Third Veil? Third Veil. That's fine. Lifelinker or Stop Goblins? I think Stop Goblins becomes first. Shade of Hades, the issue is that if my opponent goes off, then like they can find a discard spell to take that card out of my hand. So like leaving Plague Engineer to like do after they goblins is probably not a good idea. Also, my opponent bounced a Pithing Needle when Ashiok is going to stop them from searching anyway. So that doesn't make a lot of sense to me unless they needed to do that to like get Hellbent, but they shouldn't have Infernal Tutor. Oh no, they found a Burning Wish. That's a problem. I think I'm dead. Does this not kill me? You have 2 LEDs. How does this not kill me? Dark Ritual, Rite of Flame, Lotus Petal, Lotus Petal. That's already Lethal Storm. Like, we should be done here. I am, however, going to make them play it out because there's a world where they like activate the Wishclaw Talisman, having forgotten about Ashiok, and I just win the game because of that. Oh, they just like had the tendrils. Okay, that works too. I'll just concede here. Okay, so I'm on the play for this game, and and I don't have a second land. I'm going to go ahead and mulligan this one. Yep, I'll keep this. I'm going to throw back the Nighthawk Scavenger. And I think I'm going to him on turn 1. Him followed by Bob. Alright, so we're playing against Death and Taxes. Our opponent has, like, a Source of Plowshares for this Bob. I'm in trouble, and I'm probably losing this game. I have Plague Engineers that can answer that later. Alright, so this is the big turn. If they answer my Bob, I'm in trouble. If they don't answer my Bob, we've got a game. It has to be Source of Plowshares. They can't Skyclave Apparition this turn. Alright. So now we're getting to the point where my opponent can, like, play Skyclave Apparition as an answer to my Planeswalkers. I need a consistent source of card advantage in play. So this is what this feels like, huh? Oh, we got a Flicker Wisp there. See, the deck is good. Look at it, it has 2 Planeswalkers in play on turn 4. 1 Planeswalker in play on turn 4. We'll see which one they take. I also get a 3/3 creature out of the deal too, which will help protect my Planeswalkers in the future. Just disgusting. Oh no. I don't know that cycling with Silent Clearing there is a good idea, because there's a good idea that a card gets stuck in your hand and then I plus it with Liliana of the Veil. Alright. Bitter Blossom, great. Spyglass, probably good enough. You're probably good enough. You're all probably good enough. I should think about you. Should think about you. I should think about you. You're probably not good enough, but I'll think about you. Alright, what don't I want to be doing against my opponent? Honestly, a lot of my deck is probably fine to good. I'm not going to bring in all this crap. I don't want Cling to Dust. Am I even supposed to play a discard-based game? Like, there are some specific cards I want to address. But it may just be like pile of Planeswalkers plus removal is how I'm actually winning this game. Like, Ashiok is nice because it shuts down Recruiter and Stoneforge Mystic, but is a little bit difficult to protect, and probably milling them out isn't a real win condition. If I junk those, The nice thing about Thoughtseize is that it's a way to pick apart Stoneforge Mystic-based hands. I should probably cut some of this discard. So do I want Thoughtseize or him? I can also choose to not bring in some of this bonus removal. I think on the draw, him is a little bit of an ask. Hell yeah. I have such a wealth of riches here. The correct play is either Bitter Blossom or Bob. However, do we just do the meme play of put Crystalline Giant into play because it's fun? No, no, I think Bob's too good. So the thing about Bob here, that's like kind of sneaky good about it, is that if my opponent sorts the Plowshares in this turn cycle, they can't really like do another meaningful play beyond that. And if Bob doesn't work, I just jam Bitter Blossom the next turn. Dark Ritual. I can play Plague Engineer later. There's a world where I'm supposed to Dark Ritual out Crystalline Giant right now. I'm going to go ahead and play to that world and start accruing counters on this. Because then next turn, I have Plague Engineer on Human, which can be nice if my opponent like has a Mother of Runes or something like that. Otherwise, I put it on a relevant creature type. But always yield to that. Lifelink. Dark Confidant could still theoretically die to something like a Containment Priest or a Mother of Runes off an Ether Vial here. But I don't think I'm supposed to do a pre-combat Plague Engineer in order to play around that specifically. Opponent's plays are a little weird. I'm not saying wrong. It's just super weird that they've kept a hand that doesn't have a meaningful attack, or sorry, doesn't have a meaningful play with mana on turn 2 or 3. Jesus. No turn 2 Vile play either? Uh, okay. I think I want to play Engineer pre-combat. There's a world where it still goes on human here, though. +1/+1 counter here would be sick. Hexproof would also be good. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So if my opponent actually has magic cards in their hand, they're probably ahead of me. But they didn't make any plays using their mana on turns 2 and 3, which makes me think they're kind of flooded. Yeah, fine and Andy. They should not have let me gotten that counter. If I got the hexproof one, it is ruinous. Okay, this is a little rough. I do have a dismember I can draw. That's relevant pre-combat. I go ahead and castle. It's expensive. But I really need to know whether or not I have access to that card prior to my attack step. Reach is not really relevant. Okay, this game falls apart because I drew too many lands in a row. That's unfortunate. Like I can still try to fight through, but Guess I need to pressure the Gideon in this turn cycle. I probably don't win in the world where they keep both Gideon and Jitte. Fernandorbs, thank you very much for following, by the way. Hope you're enjoying the content. I have 2 outs to this Jitte. I have 1 Pithing Needle, 1 Sorcerer's Spyglass. Hmm. Okay, alright, that makes more sense. I was about to say, like, opponent and I have very different ideas about what's important on this board if they're going for sort of Feast and Famine over Jitte. Okay. Let's go no blocks. And I can try to kill this Knight ally. Sorry, I can try to kill this Knight ally and kill Gideon, and then, like, I don't know, maybe somehow magically come back from double equipment. I don't think so. I think I'm done for here. All right, more land is not going to do it for me. So I'm going to try a redraw here. I think I need to find a removal spell this turn, or I'm just going to concede. Welp. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 lands to 4, 5, 6 spells. That's not too bad. I mean, 2 of our spells were Dark Ritual, so it's just mana. I'm going to get buried by this Jitte. I think I'm comfortable conceding here when I'm at 6 life. Okay. Now I'm going to do something based on my opponent's play patterns. So my opponent kept an absolute do-nothing hand. Like, their hand did not have any early business at all. They kept a hand based entirely on late-game strength. And that makes me want to punish those sorts of keeps with Hymn to Torok. So I think I'm going to go down a couple of removal spells, like Murderous Rider is kind of a medium removal spell. So I think I'm going to drop those. Maybe drop the Collective Brutality and drop 1. How many removal spells am I keeping here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-ish. Drop 1 giant. I want more mana with this hand. but this is pretty reasonable, and most of my draws will be good. Like, lands are good, discard spells are good, dark rituals are good. If my opponent goes Ether Vial on turn 1, though, I'm a little nervous. Yeah, that's fine. Like, we have Plague Engineer for that. Alright, we got a Recruiter and a Thalia. I'm kind of sad about taking the Thalia, because that would have been a 2-for-1 with Plague Engineer. Oh god, yeah, just fucking port me. I'm in. Fuck you in particular! Alright, we got a Silent Clearing and a Flicker Wisp this time. Alright, our opponent had another Silent Clearing. Alright, they have no business. That favors me incredibly. They could have Swords to Plowshares here. If they don't, I will bury them. Yo, Path to Exile is fucking sick for me. That means I can cast like a Plague Engineer or Crystalline Giant or something through for Schadenport next turn. Love it. Yeah, Silent Clearing is strictly better than Horizon Canopy. Sometimes people forget when they put together lists, that's all. I legit don't know what my best play is this turn. All my plays are really good. I'm gonna fetch while it plays around Aven Mind Sensor, because you never know. And like, do I play the card that hits hardest if they have a Gideon? I play a 3-drop this turn over a Bob, for sure. Like, this because it hits hardest versus Giant because it's going to collect tokens sooner. They're pretty close. Menace is cool. I'm gonna try to sandbag the Plague Engineer until I can get a 2-for-1 if possible. Shade of Hades, there's also Escape. And similar decks like this often run Fatal Push, although this one doesn't. Oh, Swords to Plowshares. What a shame. So we'll kill Mom. And play a Bob. We're going to have Lifelink to offset Bob's damage. I'm at 22 life anyway. My opponent has 1 card left. They might end up cycling their Silent Clearing this turn to try to get a relevant card. Did not even see what they cast. Alright, they had another Swords to Plowshares. That's fine. Lol, 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 lol. Hello, here is my 4-3. Here is my 2-1. Alright, so there's the cycle. That's the desperation play. My opponent found another Swords to Plowshares. I'm getting a little jumpy here. Alright, so I have Dismember for whatever creature they try to equip with that. JK, what creature? Alright, I got a Batter Skull and a Mother of Runes there. Okay, and that's a GG. Alright, I am keeping a reasonable opening hand here. That just goes like Thoughtseize into eliminate a creature, into play a creature. It's not one of the most broken things this deck can do, but it should have game against most things. Sort of interesting that my opponent could have dazed this and didn't daze it. So my eliminate sucks. I'm gonna take the Planeswalker here. AK GG Scoopdom1. Thank you very much for following. Hope you're enjoying the content. Yeah, like, it's important that all the social media stuff matches. But it's... Okay, so my opponent used this. I just want to feed him a Bob. Do I want to give their days a use? Do I want to play around that? I think I just want to play around that. Yeah, the eliminate will eventually find a target, but with the way that Thoughtseize played out, like, this is the card in their hand that's kind of different from the rest in that it has relevant text. Please don't be a walker. A mentor. Okay. This is awkward. So they have both daze and force, so I can eliminate this now and it gets dazed. But it just gets force if I wait till my turn and I also don't play another card. I think so that I, like, potentially start getting through some of that counter magic. I want to fire this off here. This is just very awkward, though. If I had more removal in hand, I don't think I'd do that. Okay. Bob is the thing that most likely gets me towards a new card that beats this, but my opponent has Swords to Plowshares. So essentially everything's really awkward. This is the card that I need long term. I can Cling to Dust and draw a card and still play Bob. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's take an instant out of your graveyard. You'll put another one of those in there soon. Yes, opponent can't cast swords now, but it's somewhat likely that they'll be able to in the not too distant future. Like, they can just replay that Tundra that they picked up, and then, like, Bob is gone. I gotta say, I assume it just happens this quickly, yeah. Okay, well, here's another potential answer to it. I'm gonna go ahead and cast this now. The monk token still might beat me. But hopefully I just, like, draw one of the 2 Plague Engineers to mop those up. I know my opponent has a Daze, so I'm gonna go ahead and play my Lifelinker around that. And then my Cling to Dust is really awkward. I think I'll Cling to Dust on myself very awkwardly. And see if I hit a land drop. Because if I hit a land here and a land next turn, I get to double spell next turn. That was not the case. You're conceding? What? Game isn't anywhere close to over. I mean, like, I'll happily take that, but... Eh? Okay, so my opponent is playing one of the various, like, pile of good cards decks. So we can expect to see 3-drop Planeswalkers, as well as maybe Hull Breachers, potentially Days Undoing, Dreadhorde Arcanist, like that general sort of stuff. Playing won the game. That's... Yeah, last spell that I cast. That was the nail in the coffin, right? Alright, I want these Plague Engineers. I might end up taking Engineered Explorations to help clean... Engineered Explosives to help clean up the monks. Pithing Needle and Sorcerous Spyglass for Planeswalkers is worth consideration. Bitter Blossom just as an alternate threat is fine. Is this creature or Planeswalker? It's creature or Planeswalker. That should be in. Maybe this? Collective Brutality is also not crazy since both sides of it are good. Okay. So my opponent is a Daze deck. So I'd like to go down on some number of these 3-drops. I think Ashiok is maybe a little sketchy. The Lilianas don't line up super well versus Mentor. I think I'm going to cut this one. I'm going to get rid of the Cling to Dusts. They have text here, but I don't like that Cling to Dust is working against Nighthawk Scavenger. And the same is true of Ashiok. Like, having this thing be, you know, a 2-3 versus having it be a 5-3 is a really big difference. I want to cut some amount of my discard, I think. I'm going to cut 2 of those, not play correct Collective Brutality and EE, and go with this. Yeah, I'll keep this. This is a fistful of reasonable cards. I think I'll be playing him on turn 2 as of right now. That means that it walks into Daze. Please don't play Dreadhorde Arcanist. Fuck. That makes him considerably worse. So this is how I answer that card. So I'm going to go ahead and him to this turn in hopes that maybe it baits out a counterspell. We hit a land and another Dreadhorde Arcanist. Alright, so my opponent can Brainstorm, put their 2 worst cards back, and then shuffle them away with Preordain if they don't find a land. So this Preordain is presumably going to bottom. Nope, they bottom topped. Alright. I will cast the card that gets dazed or forced or other forced, but otherwise is very good. Yep, alright. And this is why everyone hates current legacy, is someone can resolve one card and then it spirals away with the rest of the game if you don't answer it. So this is just going to continue to allow this person to find counter magic to protect it, or answers to the stuff that I'm doing. There's not a removal spell in here yet, right? There's not. I'm going to play Crystalline Giant and hope that it gets either a +1/+1 counter or hexproof. God damn it. Like, can't catch a break here. This game is over. I'm going to continue to try and play, but like my opponent gets to set up the top of their library every turn. They get to draw 1 additional card every turn. We're done here. Yeah, now my opponent can bounce whatever threat that I play. If they put a 3-drop on top, I'm just going to concede. Alright, we're done. Next round. Oh, next game. We're not done with this match yet. Alright, on the play, I want my Thoughtseizes back. Maybe over these. Yeah, I mean this is 2020, 2021 legacy. Like you lose to 1 card that you can't answer. That's the format right now. Usually it's one of Dreadhorde Arcanist, Oko, or Uro. There are still interesting and fun games, but like that's That's the reason why a lot of people have quit Legacy. My opponent mulled to 5. Hopefully I just obliterate them. I'll take your Ponder here. Thank you. Next turn, I will play a Thoughtseize around their days, take their Force of Will, probably, maybe take the days, actually. Kind of annoying. So they can't actually play this counterbalance right now. I think what I'm going to do is take the days, leave them with Force, counterbalance Plains, and then next turn if they want to answer my Liliana, it costs them 2 cards instead of 1. Alright, that's no shuffle with the Ponder. With Thoughtseize? No. I want this Lily in play. Or I want it to cost them 2 cards. Okay. That's more or less exactly as I drew it up. Oh, Dreadhorde Arcanus is a wizard. What's its other type? Zombie wizard. Okay, so it doesn't overlap with Monastery Mentor at all. Since my opponent doesn't have access to red right now, I'm not going to pick something that shuts off Arcanist. I don't really want to cast this Thoughtseize here, but there's a chance that it's, like, getting a relevant card. Alright, so my opponent's 1 card is Brainstorm, which is a little bit annoying. Because if I Thoughtseize, they just, like, Brainstorm and keep a land in hand. Yeah, you could totally have made an argument for taking a line other than the one that I did. Oh, I see, they just discarded. Great. Oh, yeah, whereas I didn't see the Lilia's game ending. Like, my opponent has a bunch of planeswalkers that... They have a bunch of planeswalkers and powerful threats that will snowball the game on them on their own, and I didn't necessarily think that a Lily was going to win me the game. I find it more likely that, like, the threat that I play 2 or 3 threats down the line is the one that actually wins the game. Alright. So a Thoughtseize. Cool, that gets my opponent to brainstorm. Very happy with that. The Thoughtseize will get countered. Lightning Bolt. Damn it. Damn it. How many outs? 2? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 20% chance to spike something that makes this survive Lightning Bolt. That's feel bad. I think I just passed the turn. Damn it, I wanted them to fetch that away. Yeah. We're dead now. The fairy doesn't look like it does a ton, but it really does. If this Hymn to Turok resolves and takes that Lightning Bolt, and there's neither a 2, god damn it. Alright, my opponent has Dreadhorde Arcanist on top of their library. I am going to concede. Like, they have Counterballast plus Dreadhorde plus Teferi. We're donezo. Alright, my opponent has Mulligan and I'm on the draw. This is one of those hands where if I spike a swamp, this hand is just absolutely insane, and if I don't, this hand is really questionable and just outright loses to a Wasteland. It's possible that because on turn 2 I can still just go like double Dark Ritual into like Thoughtseize plus Liliana, that I should still keep this. You know what? Fuck it. Let's go. We're in the 0-4 bracket right now. Like, let's make some bad decisions, and if they pay off, it'll look sweet. Yeah, we did play against the Wasteland deck, so I will die immediately for this decision. That is what happens. Oh, great, they didn't have Wasteland report. Less great. Alright. So that's game 1. I'll take another draw step or 2. Because I can actually do some pretty respectable things if I get to do stuff with my mana. Like, if this is all my opponent has and they're sitting on planes beyond this, it's fine. But otherwise, I'm just stone cold dead. Yep. Okay, we can comfortably concede there. Alright, so this was one of those times where we had a billion things to potentially board in, right? I think I like this, this, this. Yeah, I mean, I kept it knowing that, like, it could not work out. That's fine. This. 3 answers to Ether Vial? 3 answers to Ether Vial might be fine. Let's go Ashiok out. I think I cut Murderous Rider before. I think on the... I boarded for my opponent's playstyle last time. I think on the play I'll keep my discard. You go down some of these. Yeah. When I'm on the play, I might keep some hymns. I don't know. Maybe I'll just keep 2. Try this. And then I'll take out the hymns on the draw, probably. Alright, this is a classic mono black hand. I'm gonna go with the Vial here. Then I'll hymn to Turok them and probably end up putting Plague Engineer on human on turn 3. Did you draw another? Oh, no. That's fine. I'm good with that. I'm real good with that, actually. Yes. Alright, we hit Caracas Thalia. I don't mind hitting those. Alright, my opponent drew another Plains, so they're going to go Thalia here. Which means I get a sick 2-for-1 with Plague Engineer. Oh, you don't attack with that mom there. No. I have way too much spot removal for that attack to be good. Like, I love a cheeky mom attack as much as the next person, but I do not think that one is good. Well, if they smelt the Engineer, they should have played Spirit of the Labyrinth instead. Would have been a much stronger line. We're in a very dominating position now. Okay. I don't know that you're actually supposed to answer Plague Engineer there. I understand doing it, but answering Plague Engineer there means that I get to take this Batter Skull, which, maybe the Batter Skull is irrelevant. I don't know. Like, I now have an Edict on board plus a 3-turn clock. I think this is the largest these have been on this stream. Honestly, I forgot. If I'm being totally honest, I'm in I've won this game mode and I'm not thinking very hard about my decisions. Noni White Owl, thank you very much for following. Hope you're enjoying the content. Alright, opponent intentionally failed to find there. I just edict you? I want to keep this alive. Maybe I just edict you. Like, the Lily's kind of awkward with this castle. Like, this castle is getting me a Planeswalker activation worth of value each turn, and the Lily kind of works against it. My opponent has only a small number of outs, depending on how they boarded. Like, they can draw a Skyclave, a Source of Plowshares, or something like that, but if they answer the thing that kills them, then I keep Bob in play, which will also just kill them. Hey, Nathan. Sorry to hear that. Hope things improve for you. Okay, yeah, they're done with me. So on the draw, the Hymn to Turok's become a little bit less good. They're still obviously fine cards, but I might want to get rid of them for some removal. Oh, I forgot to get Cling to Dust. This is an Edict. Let's bring in some slightly faster removal for this game when I'm on the draw and keep some. Let's keep some of these. Yeah, Nathan, I know you've been struggling in the past few months in particular. I hope you find something that works out well for you, or at least better than, what's going on right now. Life is not easy for a lot of people in these pandemic times, and you got to do what you got to do to make yourself happy. I'll be keeping this hand. I have Thoughtseize into Him to Turok with the ability to deviate into Sorcerous Spyglass if my opponent plays an Ether Vial on turn 1. SCK, thank you very much for your continued support. Okay, because I have Him to Turok specifically, and my opponent can't make a good play next turn, I'm just going to take the Thalia here. And this is super fringe, but I probably should have fetched on turn 1 because of Leonin Arbiter. Like, it is not a commonly played card, but it's something that my opponent could play on turn 2 that would just utterly and savagely wreck me. I do not like that mom attack. Like, I am a deck that has shown you a decent amount of removal. I think you have to respect that. Alright, so they still have Swords to Plowshares in hand as their last card. Yeah, I suppose there is also the, like, very marginal percentage chance of... slightly better chance of drawing another land. Yeah, I guess that's fair. This is awkward. I don't really want to play Bob into Swords to Plowshares. But I do want to use my mana. Alright, let's just punish them for their... Alright, this card's dumb. Let's punish them for their mom attack. I would much rather hit like a Nighthawk Scavenger get Swords to Plowshared rather than one of these cards. And since my opponent is operating on so few resources, it's pretty likely that they'll just fire off a removal spell on this thing. Yep. Sure. That's actually quite good. So now I can Dark Ritual, play a Lifelinker, and play something that works well with it. Now, if my opponent only has one removal spell, I still stick something that matters. My opponent plays a human, even if it's a Thalia, I just source for a Spyglass, Jitte, or play Plague Engineer, and things are good for me. Caracas is a solid draw. Do I start attacking their hand with Lily? Like, my cards are pretty good. I'm going to get a lot more cards, though. I'm just going to go ahead and play Spyglass on Jitte. Alright, so they have 3 non-castable cards. This game isn't over, but I'm definitely in the driver's seat. This Singleton Caracas, though. Actually, do I even bounce it, or do I just play Plague Engineer? And just kill it that way? Yeah, I actually am probably supposed to just play Plague Engineer. That's a little weird. No, Plague Engineer is not symmetrical, because life is fair. Yeah, so they get to remove one of my things. Yeah, removing Bob is fine. But I'm gonna attack for 6. Oh, this can deal damage to their face, right? Yeah. Elmira in misery. That makes you sacrifice the Skyclave. Alright, and we get there. Okay, so this was a fun league. Like, we lost a lot, but I enjoyed it. Like, it was fun while we were losing. Um, so if you're going to play Nighthawk Scavenger as one of your primary win conditions, as we've already discussed, you want to go and cut these sorts of cards. You can't be hating on your opponent's graveyard while trying to use their graveyard as a resource. That just doesn't work. So Ashiok could be pretty easily replaced by something like Opposition Agent, and we could like move on and call it a day. Crystalline Giant indeed is a pretty sick elk. Don't hate the deck design. Like I enjoy playing decks that look like this, but I think like maybe 4 Opposition Agents in these slots, and then like some other source of card advantage of some kind, or like a main deck Bitter Blossom or something like that might be pretty good. Oh yeah, like Vampire Nighthawk holds a special place in my heart because it's a card. It was like my very first Magic single that I bought, so like it will always be my favorite Magic card. Just like period, no discussion there. But as far as like legacy goes, this card is like very much better than Vampire Nighthawk. Um, I more or less like the sideboard. I like the cards that I had access to. Yeah, I don't think I have too much else to say about this. Let's not get paired against an opponent who has 3 Veil of Summers next time, and we'll try to do a little bit better. All right, folks who end up watching on YouTube, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you do, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing if you aren't already. I'm trying to get to 3,000 subs, and it would mean a lot if I made that goal sometime soon. Have a great rest of the day.